school, and we really thought that we could stop cell phone usage by students in class or even at the school. And so I dug through and got some statistics to sort of give me some perspective about what's happening. Now, I see kids everywhere with cell phones. And one of the things that I found out was that Nielsen Mobile, which is a division of the Nielsen poll company, has released their latest survey. And one of the things that they found was that by 2013, 50% of 8 to 12-year-olds will be walking around with a cell phone. Now, when I ran through this with some people, I got some really interesting responses from educators. In virtually every case, the educator said to me, no, there's at least this number now or more. And so, okay, we'll go to the next one. All right, so how about texting? Right, so we've moved beyond where, you know, you're out in public and you're eating and the people at the table next to you or behind you or whatever are talking on the cell phone, right? You know, is there anyone here who has ever been interrupted by a person on a cell phone that was not engaged in a conversation that was banal? No. No, you didn't. It's like, why do I care about what you're talking about? My favorite is when we go shopping and you see a person walking down the aisle talking on the phone. So kids have moved beyond that. We've got a teenager in our house, and I bounce a lot of ideas off of him. And his other grandparents bought him one of these smartphones. It's got a keypad, and it's touch sensitive and the whole thing. And he is texting all the time. And so I said to him, what's the deal with email? Email, nobody uses email. I said, okay, so what's the problem with email? Email takes too long. So they don't use email. Right? So I said, well, what about phone calls? Because he doesn't get that many phone calls. He said, phone calls take too long. So what is it with texting? I said, the thing about texting is that you send the text out, and if they're online and they've got the phone, they text you right back. It's this sort of immediate response thing. All right, so what happens? I'm sort of aware as this date approaches that I've got to get some interesting information to hand out to you. So what was it? Monday. Somebody comes on TV and says, we've done a brain study. And what we've discovered is the part of the brain that is excited when you text, when you send a text, and when you see the text, is the exact same part of the brain that gets excited when you're on drugs. Okay? We have a little joke at our house in which I always talk about the feel-good sisters, serotonin and norepinephrine. And so, here are kids who are texting away like crazy, and you're getting this immediate response, which is sort of reinforcing any sort of addictive personality trait that you might have. Because oh, they texted back, oh, they texted back. So I watch this teenager, and he's engaged in some sort of activity, and the phone starts to rattle, and he stops what he's doing and picks this up and texts back. Now, I don't think he texts a lot, but these are the numbers that Nielsen says are going on right now. Okay, so in 2006, the average number of monthly texts per teen, 435. Just an incredible number, right? Until you look at this number, 3,000. That's 100 a day. And that's an average. All right? So one of the things that I'm happy about is that we've moved beyond this idea that we can somehow corral these cats and stop kids from using cell phones, because it's not going to happen. Now, the reason I started talking about cell phone is the idea that I want to get across to you today, the sort of umbrella, as I talk about phones and social networking and internet and so on and so forth, is that what I've seen and what my peers have seen especially over the last few years, is this digital divide. Now, the digital divide used to be the haves versus the have-nots. It used to be strictly an economic conversation. You know, you've got all the white, middle, upper-class people out here in the suburbs that have high-speed internet, and then you have these poor enclaves that don't have anything. We've got to do something about that. No, there's now a new digital divide, and it is the teenagers and preteens on one side, and it is the rest of you / us on the other. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to talk about today, oh, look at this wonderful program, and look at this, and look at that. Because what's happened is the kids have actually built their own digital communication system, separate and apart from all of the organizations that they move in and out of as people. And so we have to be aware that that exists and what's going on in those communications, because they are tremendously unprepared for what I refer to as the bears in the woods. You know, everybody talks about predators and bad people and don't talk to strangers and so on and so forth, and they have no idea, because they have grown up in a situation where there's a message, here's my immediate response, and there's an immediate response back. There are never any value judgments about either the quality of the message. Privacy, forget privacy. Privacy is a concept they don't understand. Okay, so we have this incredible amount of texting going on. What can you do? You know, I don't have the answer here.